Daffodil, the open boat, or as my mother calls it, HMS Hypothermia. There is a little bit of a breeze out here, but it's not too bad. If you feel at all cold, do let me know. I have got some blankets on board the boat. You can stick over your lap or whatever. Just a very quick safety announcement. In the unlikely event of a problem with the boat, all the life jackets are under these ground seats behind me, but the boat has some control this week, so we should be back here hopefully in about 20 minutes time. We're going to have a look around all the nooks and crannies around the harbour. I'll point out some stuff to you, and I'm sure you'll get some nice pictures as we go around as well. So I hope you enjoy your trip, and I'll be back to you in a moment. Well, just up ahead of us now is the first thing we're going to look at on the trip round, and this is Mermaid Key. This is all bars and restaurants here. There's not many shops, just places to eat and drink. But you can get food here from all around the world. Very lively place on a Friday and Saturday night. Over on the left-hand side of the boat, into the sun, is a brand new building here in Cardiff Bay. It's not particularly attractive, but if you look on the left here, you can see the sun shining off the roof of that building. That is the new £2 million Doctor Who Centre, and that's going to be opening here in July. The Calm Down is not open yet. That's the new Doctor Who Centre on the far left there. We'll have a look at that later on.
Come and shoot some stuff on the boat, Jake, and I'll be back in 3 minutes.
On the right now are the old dry docks where they used to repair ships. There are 3 docks here that opened in the 1860s. When they first opened, they could have handled any ship that was then afloat in the world. Ships have got a little bit bigger since 1860. And directly ahead of us is the 5-star St David's Hotel that could do with a bit of a wash. And that's where all the footballers and the pop stars like to stay. And a couple of weekends ago we had the French rugby team in the hotel. Over on the left-hand side of the boat, you can see the cranes and warehouses around the working parts of Cardiff Dock. I always go quite close to this hotel just in case someone chucks some money at me. On the right-hand side of the boat is the nature reserve, the wetlands area. All the land on this side of Cardiff Bay, about a quarter of a mile down here, has been kept wild for the birds, somewhere where the birds can shelter and nest. We get all sorts of different types of birds turning up in this part of the bay throughout the year. We have a pair of swans nesting here at the moment, and if you're looking amongst the bushes ahead of us on the right here, at the 2 o'clock position, you'll see a swan sitting on the nest in the bushes over there. You can see its partner out on the water, but behind it in the bushes there is a swan. Yeah, it's so closely on its nest. Directly ahead of us on the other side of the bay, up on the hill over there, is the town of Penarth. The church on the hill of Penarth, St Augustine, is the highest point on the South Wales coast. And the little fence in the water over here on the right is designed to stop rubbish from floating into the nature reserve. While you're looking on the right, down there you can see all the boats at the Cardiff Yacht Club. Beyond the boats is a big bridge, and underneath that bridge is the mouth of the River Taff. There are two rivers coming into Cardiff Bay, the River Taff and the River Ely. The River Ely is on the far side of the bay. The River Taff is down on the right there. Now ahead of us on the left is the famous Cardiff Bay Barrage, stretching from Penarth over to Cardiff Docks. You can see the two white sails halfway along the barrage. The barrage is basically just a big dam holding all of this water in the bay. Before they built the barrage, it was the open sea ahead of us on the left there, and whenever the tide went out, all of the water in Cardiff Bay used to go as well. Look around you here today. It's hard to imagine now, but all of this used to be mud, twice a day at low tide. Now that the barrage is there, we've got this big freshwater lake here the whole time. All of the water in Cardiff Bay is from the rivers, not from the sea. Cardiff Bay is now a freshwater lake, a big change. At Penarth, there are 3 locks, which allow boats through the barrage to the sea. But the entrance to Cardiff Docks, which is a big ship use now, is directly ahead of us on the other side of the bank by some white oil tanks. We don't get any big ships in the bay now. Now, if we've got a camera with you as you're taking pictures, on the left-hand side of the boat, we've got this great view of the waterfront in Cardiff. There's the massive gold roof of the Wales Millennium Centre there, glinting in the sun, the old pierhead building. That's a very nice picture on the left-hand side of the boat there. Just a little bit misty today, but still very nice. Also, down on the left here in a moment, we'll see the new BBC studios. We've seen the Doctor Who Centre with the big blue end on the building there. Well, to the right of that building in the distance, beyond that iron gate, you'll see a group of buildings that look like warehouses with some grey and pink blue panels on. That's the BBC. That's where they filmed Casualty, Holy City, Doctor Who, of course, upstairs, downstairs, and the Welsh soap opera, Cobblet Hook. That's all the buildings beyond that iron gate down there about a quarter of a mile away. We'll have a close look at that later on. And on the right here is the maintenance base, where all the people and boats that look after Cardiff Bay are based. If you lot all stand on the same side, we'll probably turn over. Now ahead of the boat there's a very popular footpath connecting Penarth and the barrage to the waterfront. If you fancy a walk across the barrage later today, that's a very nice walk with the sea on one side and the bay the other. It'll take you about 35-40 minutes from the Norwegian church ahead of us all the way over to Penarth across the barrage. You can get a cup of tea at Penarth and walk back again. A very nice stroll across the barrage with the sea on one side and the bay the other. Now on the left, just off to the right of the hotel, you can see the very tops of the Millennium Stadium in the city centre, about 1.5 miles northwest of us. Just coming into view now are all 4 white sticky-uppy bits on top of the stadium in the city centre. Sticky-uppy bits is the technical term. Now ahead of the boats we've got the entrance to the old Channel Dry Dock. Now all the land in front of us here is about to be redeveloped. They're going to take the gate off this dock here and make this into a little marina for visiting boats. This whole area in front of us though will eventually be surrounded by a little village of warehouse-style waterfront apartments. And I have heard that on this corner here, where there's bushes and the concrete, there's going to be a little bar and restaurant with amazing views of Cardiff Bay behind us and the waterfront ahead of us. In a couple of years' time, you'll all be sat up on this wall here on the left with a gin and tonic giving me a wave as I come past on the boat. Big changes going down on the right-hand side here. I can just see the little stainless steel railings along the top of the wall here in the future. We always get a lovely sunset from this corner across the bay as well. hotel out on the left here. In a few moments you'll see what the roof on that building is all about. The roof on the hotel is actually meant to represent the bow wave of a ship. Now in a few moments you'll see that the hotel is in fact quite symmetrical. Narrow at the front, wide at the back, just like the front of a ship. If you can imagine that building sailing towards us like some sort of weird ocean liner, well, up on the roof, look, there's the bow wave it's making as it pushes through the water towards us. At least that's what the architect had in mind. But you only get that view from over here, and you certainly need a serious imagination. If you're taking photographs, in about 10 seconds you'll get the best picture of the hotel as we come bang onto the sector line. Yeah, I should say somewhere round about there is the best shot of the hotel. On the right, the £2 million Doctor Who experience. This building will be opening in July, and in the summer, this building will be full of screaming monsters, mostly aged between 6 and 12. They're building a new landing stage here for the boats. That's what these guys are doing with the barge here. They're putting a new landing stage in. So in the future, you might well be getting off the boat here, rather than over there. So big changes. In the corner there, actually, behind the lorries full of entry, you'll just see the BBC studios. You can see a terrace of houses up there, and they're not real houses at all. That's all part of a set for the Welsh soap opera Poblicwm. Now, directly ahead of the boat, we've got this big pair of lock gates. Now, it was through these lock gates here that just over 100 years ago, the explorer, Captain Scott, set sail for the South Pole. Scott of the Antarctic, trying to be the first man to get to the South Pole. These guys are in the process of removing this black bridge at the moment. So if you want to walk across there, use the red bridge in the future. The black bridge will be gone by the end of the day. Captain Scott, of course, sadly was destined never to return. But there is a statue of him. You can see it up here behind the railing. The white statue facing south to the South Pole. On the corner here is the Norwegian church. Now the church has a claim to fame. This is the church where the children's author Roald Dahl was baptized. And I'm sure you've all read a book by Roald Dahl. The church has been totally refurbished now, and these days you can get a nice cup of coffee in there and a sticky bun. Now we're going to get a very good view of a big blackbird in a minute sitting on this wooden post. This is a cormorant. It's got a zoom lens on the camera. Get it zoomed up now because you'll get a good picture of this bird up here. These wooden posts, though, are called dolphins. They don't look like dolphins, but that's what the sailors used to call them. And years ago, you would have tied your ship up against the dolphins here when the tide went out. Don't forget, it used to be part of the sea, and if the tide went out and your ship didn't have a flat bottom on it, it could have fallen over. So you would tie your ship up against the dolphins here to hold it upright at low tide. Directly ahead of the boat is the Welsh Assembly, the debating chamber or Senedd. You can see the silver vent on the roof of the Senedd that lets out all the hot air they're generating in there. And the building on the right here by the willow tree is the headquarters of an insurance company. The building with the clock tower is the old dock offices, the Pierhead building, which stands between the two original entrances to Cardiff docks, the Bute East and Bute West docks. You can still see where the dock entrances used to be. One entrance has got the steps in it now by the Senedd. That was the Bute East dock, and where you got on the boat earlier was Cardiff's first dock, the Bute West dock. Well, the last thing for me to mention on my little circuit around the harbour here are the 4 railway signals up on the platforms ahead of the boat. In front of us you'll see 4 white signals sticking up here. Now these signals had nothing to do with trains. Up until about 1968, you could have got a paddle steamer from the corner ahead of us to any port up and down the Bristol Channel. Places like Weston-super-Mare, Barry, Penarth, Swansea, Newport, Ilfracombe, Minehead, you name it, you could have got a boat from this corner ahead of us. They were very busy with the paddle steamers coming and going like buses, and they used to signal to the captains of the boats coming in which of the 4 landing stages they were to use with these 4 signals either side of the boat here. Sadly, the landing stages have long since gone, so have the paddle steamers. All that remain are these 4 signals to remind us of what used to go on in this corner ahead of us. Now, of course, as we saw at the beginning of this little tour, it's Mermaid Quay with all its bars and restaurants and food from all around the world.
And now, guys, you know everything. You know it all. Did you like that?
We did, yes.
Say yes, Captain.
Yes, Captain.
That's it. It's the best 3 quid you're going to spend today. Say yes, Captain.
Oh, yeah, okay.